Hi guys. Oh, there's a introducing new gesture reactions on Zoom. I just saw that. Huh, okay, I'll turn that on. I have no makeup on. I look like crap. And I've been crying a lot. So I have a lot of emotional days. Um, I don't know if it's this medication I'm on or what, but off the topic, I haven't been on here for a while, so I'm going to kind of update you what's been going on. Let me share my screen. So welcome if you're new to my page. I have got 2 more weeks left to this English class. Pretty amazing from where I started. If you are new to my page, it is now December 6th. I started going back to college against my will. It's a requirement of my job to advance my degree. So I'm reluctantly doing that, but I want to keep my job. So I fought it for a while. And here I am. Reason being, I was in special ed till the 7th grade. Well, up to the 7th grade. And I'm not claiming this diagnosis. I'm a Christian, I don't claim these things, but I was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADD. But you know what? I managed to get through my associate's degree. I managed to get into regular classes once I reached the 8th grade. I did struggle. It took me longer to study, so I'm not going to downplay that fact. And when I was faced with trying to do this again, I remember how hard it was the first time going to college and how fearful I was. I'm still there. I still have those issues that I'm trying to overcome. I'm actually doing well, knock on wood, in the classes, or this class. I do have an A. I don't know if I'll keep an A, but I do have an A. I have been working hard. But I, for the first time in my life, at 58 years old, decided, okay, I'm desperate enough to try medication. If you know my personality, I do not like taking pills of any sort. I don't like being on medication for anything. Just because there's so many side effects with everything, and I have seen it not work for countless people. I think that's part of the emotional thing that's going on here. I mean, I'm already a very emotional person. I'm a very empathetic person. And, but I was started on Adderall, 20 milligrams, extended relief. And one of the side effects, actually, they say if your dose is too large, that you'll become much more emotional. I don't believe my dose is too large because I barely am getting the effects of being able to concentrate. I do. I'm able to concentrate now, so it is better. Let me close this door. Anyway, so I can actually read better. It still takes me a little bit longer to comprehend. And sometimes I will use AI just to help summarize the key points because I'm sometimes just not connected. I will read something over and over again, and that's why it takes me longer. Then I have challenges.
Are you okay up there?
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm fine. I'm actually doing a Zoom. Okay. Sorry. My husband's hard of hearing. This helps. He doesn't answer his phone. This thing's actually working. It's great. Anyway, math is a challenge for me. And body positioning and my orientation. I remember when I was in A&P, I had I had a hard time with that because, of course, when you're looking at the patient, they're opposite of how you are. I had a hard time with that. And so my concern is going forward. I've always been good at English. I enjoy writing. I think that's the creative side of my mind. I am an artist, although I haven't drawn in years. I still call myself an artist because I used to draw. I have drawn, let's see, when was the last time I drew something? I initially stopped at 18, but I think the last time was maybe 2015. Not at age 18, I stopped after a car accident. And I don't know how. I honestly think it was associated with the car accident. I almost died. It was a bad car accident. I was on my way back from taking the entrance exam to FIT, Fashion Institute Technology, which I would have went to, but my path changed. I couldn't draw after that. It may have been a form of PTSD. I don't know, but I didn't feel it anymore. I didn't feel like drawing anymore. And I used to write poetry, and I did kind of stop at 17, and then I wrote again in 2015. So anyway, gazing off to the left here. What was the point in all this? I don't know. I lost my train of thought. There we go again with the attention deficit issue. Math being a challenge. I have classes that are going to be a challenge to me for sure. The English part, like I said, was a creative part of my mind that I like writing. I do like writing. Although I am not really good with grammar, I tend to write very long sentences. It's hard for me to break it up. I think that's because when I'm writing, that's how I talk. I'm long-winded. It's not something that is easily overcome. So that was one challenge that I faced with doing this. So right now we're at this point of what you see on here. We are where we're given the essay draft feedback to our peers. So I have left feedback actually on 3 people. The reason I did 3 was because there was one that was not going to follow the guidelines of what the rubric required of us. So like here, it wanted us to list what we thought their paragraph was about and how they implemented the paraphrases, how they were used to support their ideas, what words did they use to appeal to their audience, and how does the reader go from one idea to the next, whatever, well, you see it right here. This person only had a thesis, and it was more a topic, not really a thesis. It was a statement of fact, but it was not given their opinion. That's what a thesis is. It's how you feel about the evidence that's presented to you. So anyway, so I kind of I felt bad for the person because they were saying that they were at that point, that they've not been able to complete their assignment because of some situations. And I felt sorry for them, and I was trying to help them as much as I could. So I didn't put that in there for a grade. But I figured most people would not want to answer that because it was not meeting all the requirements that we have to get our points. So anyway, I answered their thing. So there's everybody here. I'm waiting for people to give feedback on mine, and nobody has so far. So I was trying to work ahead, like I always do. And I'll show you what the next thing is due. Let's see, assignments. So the next thing that's going to be due is this project assignment here. And if you look at the guidelines and rubric, it's basically 2 parts. So the first part, it says here, maybe, well, let's see, I'm trying to find. Part 1, you will see a list of sources you give that you will use in your persuasive essays. You'll list the sources. You will also include a description and information about your research process. Please note that the information in part 1 must be included in your submission. and is in addition to traditional references or cited section that will appear at the end of your paper, which is part 2. And that's where, see, if you're never been in this class, all of our assignments have been leading up to this. So where we got this information for part 1 was actually in what is it called? Module 3 project. I'm going to pull it over here and open it up for you. Yep, and it went over to the other side. So this was here. So project draft, collection of sources. And so here you are talking about the purpose of your research, revising your research question, your potential answer, and then going into the details of the essay, why you chose the sources, what they were, what the biases were. So all of that's included in what is required. So this is actually your example. Yep, let me open it here. Save. I don't know what happened there. Okay. Let me look back at module 3 real quick. I think I screwed something up on here. I screwed something up, God. I don't know what I did. I didn't think I did anything. I'm just looking to make sure. Maybe not. I don't know what happened. All right, so is this it? Oh no, that's the wrong module. That was a proposal I did for work. Let me try to find it again. Oh, it's over here. This English 190 thing. I pulled the wrong thing. That's what happened. That's why it made that dinging noise. Okay, so this is actually how you're going to list it. So you do your title here. They didn't tell you what to title this. So I just wrote on mine because I basically assembled this together. I assembled this together using those 2 papers. So it was project 5 and project 3. So here you're titling this as project part 1, collection of sources. But up here you're going to say module 7-1 project. That's the title of it. So anyway, you're putting your collection of sources here. I think that's how we're doing it, unless she wants us. I probably should ask that. Yeah. And am I titling it the 4-day work week? I don't know. I need to ask her. Hopefully I remember that after this. Anyway, so it's giving you guidance in how your paper should look. And you've already done this work. Let me make this smaller because this looks huge. Oh, maybe that's too small. Hold on. Yeah, that's probably better. So what I'm waiting for now is for the feedback from my peers, because if there was something that wasn't clear or maybe the way I organized it, I need to go back to my original paper 5 in here and fix stuff, and maybe even part 1. I don't know. So I can't move forward until I get that, but I wanted to have it already in here, kind of so that I could make sure that I was following this rubric, which it looks like I am. And here also tells you a little bit more detail. Oh, hold on a second. That's what it was. Let's see. This was actually, hold on a second. This was feedback I gave to somebody else. This was, who was this to? Oh, I can't even remember. I'll just save it as peer feedback because I had both of them save. So it was module 6, 2, peer feedback. I can minimize that. Anyway, here it's step by step for each section. And then there's the rubric here. Part 1 states the purpose of your research, states a research question, describes the impact of using biased sources, describes how diverse perspectives from the sources support your position, list relevant sources to support your essay, describe how each source supports your topic, compose a thesis statement that addresses the position, your position, and then support key points in the essay, uses quotes or paraphrases to integrate evidence from the research. My whole paper was based off of evidence. I put very little of my own opinion in there. And actually, just to talk about my paper, I was thinking, here's the complexity of my paper. So while all these studies have talked about the 4-day work week being good, it is good for certain facilities, not every facility. And if we're talking about my facility, it's only if the problems with the 4-day work week, a compressed schedule, are addressed. The problem is this. Yes, we can make it work. We have been making it work. We've been doing a 4-day work week now for, well, they opened in 2018. I didn't come on to the 2019. The problem is this. Now that we have become a corporation, when we were just a small hospital, the expectations were not as great. There was not as much pressure put on leadership to perform. As you know, most hospitals are not nonprofits. They are for profit. This is I believe we're a for-profit. Seems like we're a for-profit. I never really looked into it. I assume it is because it's a corporation. So yes, that sounds dumb, huh? Yeah. But anyway, they are pushing doctors to fill their block time. And in my opinion, this is my opinion, it's getting more and more difficult to work that compressed work week. My concern is, because the paper at least was looking for what was a better option, the 5-day work week or the 4-day work week. But I didn't look at the 5-day work week, and maybe somebody might mention that because it is a corporation. It wouldn't matter if we were open 6 days a week. It wouldn't matter if we were open 7 days a week. That work would not be spread out and you'd have shorter days, lighter days. Not going to happen. Not in a New York minute. Because it's about that. And so they will, it doesn't matter if we did 4 days. It doesn't matter if we did 5 days. They will fill that block time, no matter how many days you're working, to potentially bring in more revenue. And this is nothing against them. It takes a lot of money to run a hospital, run a surgical center, surgical outpatient center. Although be a part of the hospital. This is a fact. I am a former business owner, so I understand that. I was wanting to utilize this, not to change their minds so much, because they're going to do what they're going to do. And that's evident because we have had discussions about this potentially going to 5 days. So while it lasts, I'm trying to make, whether we go to 5 days or 4 days, I'm trying to make it easier on my staff. I'm trying to improve processes. So whether we are 4 days or 5 days, at least now with this research, I know what we can look at. I have recommendations for the leadership, administrators and leadership. I am leadership, but I'm not senior leadership. I'm just a manager. We don't have a lot of power. We can have some influence, but if you appeal to them with logic, and it's something that's not going to cut into finances, they'd probably be persuaded to do whatever it is to improve things. So we can improve the flow, but by doing some things that we're not currently doing, because we're so busy. But they are starting to hire more staff now because it's been difficult to keep up with the numbers, with how busy we are, with what we have. I have 2 new people starting soon, and I anticipate we're going to probably have to hire more staff. I need to actually, let me make a note to myself on that, because I have some staff that may be going out soon. Note to self. It's getting difficult, and it's getting difficult on everybody, including me, because I have been having to work as a nurse, which I don't mind doing to help the staff. But I can't always be there because I have so much going on. I can intermittently help, but I can't help every day because no, I'm not going to get into it. We got a lot of stuff going on right now. But I want to be proactive and think of what's coming ahead to make things better. So that was the whole purpose of this paper. So I'm going to look at staffing to address those concerns, maybe some travelers. And then the things that I want to implement were not included in this research study. It did talk a little bit about PAT, but I am not over PAT. It's another area. But the things that they mentioned about PAT in this article were very vague. And about ASA classes. You're not going to change either one of those. So whether they have, whether their history is looked at by anesthesia or not, say they don't receive a phone call because it's an endo procedure and they think, it's not a surgery. We don't really need to consult anesthesia for this. And I don't know what the policy is. I need to ask what are the policies? When do we call these patients? And put this down. When do we call? And I don't have the staff to help do some of the legwork we used to do, because before, when we first started, we had PAT in our facility. So they started out making phone calls over at our facility, like getting the patients ready for the procedure, telling them what medications to hold, blah, 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 blah. If they felt they were going to be a higher ASA class, now mind you, these are nurses doing this, so if they don't have critical care background, it's hard for them to recognize that. And I think some of our current people working at the facility, not in our facility, but for PAT, may not have that experience. And I think sometimes that's why it's getting missed. And I've yet to ask what the requirements are for that position. That's another thing I want down, requirements. Because this is the thing, if you don't have a critical care background, you're not going to recognize that this patient is a walking train wreck. Let's see. So anyway, so even if they miss call on a patient who's maybe an ASA 3 or an ASA 4, they still keep them. They still do the procedures there. They don't send them away. Well, 3 is okay there, but a 4, not really. They manage them, and most of the time they manage them really well, and we don't have any issues. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes they truly should not be done there. And that's where you get some of the bottleneck, and they take longer to get the procedure started. Sometimes we have to intubate them. They take longer to recover. So those are the things that slow down what's supposed to be a fast-paced environment. But we have issues with staffing coverage right now. So If they don't get done where we're at, they more than likely won't get done in the hospital. That's why I said I didn't dig into some of those things, because it was pointless. There's no point to it. And maybe somebody reading my paper wouldn't understand that if they're not in a medical background or they don't know what's going on, things that I can't share, obviously. But the experience has been good. It's actually very, very helpful. So thank you, SNHU. Although I was very frustrated at times because some of the feedback that I got from your academic support team was very mixed on the same paper from different people. I think that was a big problem, and it was very discouraging to me. But following the guidelines of this course, and I will keep these rubrics. I need to make sure I have them all downloaded. Because if you have to do another research paper, the way that it was constructed, the way that you started with what you were going to look at, it was fantastic. Fantastic. I have nothing but good things to say about this. So let's look at those, because I want you to see this if you're not going to this college, just so you can see if you're currently thinking about colleges or thinking about you're in another college and maybe you don't have good guidelines to how, or maybe you never did this research and persuasion class. So here's the first one, use and research. So let's see, where's the rubric? So here it tells you, well, this one was just introducing yourself to the class. Okay, so what steps can you use in your own research process? Oh, this is like getting feedback from your peers about what you had done in the past, which was also purposeful. It was good. All right, let me go back here so I can go to the next thing, because that one's not the right one. All right, so discussion. Okay, diverse perspectives. Share the links to 2 sources from the library that you found for your found through your independent research. This is jumping, isn't it? Yeah, this is jumping. Let me go to the course menu. Sorry. Ugh, learning modules. I'm feeling dizzy. I am definitely dehydrated. I have not been drinking enough. And that's what I was trying to explain to that person that just had their thesis. Okay, so here's one, guidelines and rubric. So they gave us sources to pick from. A project resource document. And see, I don't think I can even download this. I might have to cut and paste it, because this guidance really helped me. So basically they gave us something to pick from. So I think in most classes, when you have to do a research paper, they give you some sources to pick from. You review the categories you're interested in. So it should be something that's interesting to you. And then you select the category, and then you review the one article that they gave you. And once you read through it, it's going to show you where a potential problem is. I think they purposely selected it because the first article was about the 4-day work week being great for everybody. So obviously it's not going to be great for everybody. That's a given. You can't use such a generalized statement like that. Oh yeah, sure, it's great for everybody. And so then I sought to find why it's not great for everybody and who it's not great for. So, and then you basically are writing here about your topic, stating why the specific topic that you identified, how you identified the topic within your source, and then 2 perspectives on your topic, and who would be interested in it. Like, so there's some people who think that'd be great. Like my nurses love working 4 days a week. Even though it's getting harder. They've not been liking it lately, though, I can tell you that, because we're staying a lot later. And that usually only affects the late people, which is kind of not fair. Yeah. I don't think we ever thought we'd stay this late, but it is what it is. And then so then you have a question that you get from this, from both sides. Is this doable? Is this good for everybody? Da, da, da. These are your examples. Then you're going to review, it says the example for your question. And then you got to form your research question. Explain how your research question identifies a specific aspect of your issue. So that's where this person needed to start, was with a research question. And they had that. And that was what they presented. But not their, what they know. They basically gave the problem, not the question. They gave the problem, but they didn't make a stand on it. So it's like if I said that I use the title. No, I couldn't use the title. I'm trying to give you an example without exposing this person. I guess I really can't. But anyway, if you read the guidelines for this, it kind of guides you through it. I obviously was attracted to this topic because we're doing it. So anyway, these guidelines have been very helpful to me. There are sources that you can find on YouTube. Through SNHU, there are videos that you can watch that are absolutely free about the writing process, about APA formatting, all of that. And there are actual professors. Now, some of these classes, it's the same class specifically, but some of them are older, but they're using the same guidelines, so it's good. Those were very helpful to me. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to go look at that after I'm off here with you guys. I don't want to keep you on here forever. I just wanted to update you as to where I was at and continue to encourage you. We're at the finish line, so it's not much longer. And then it's on to the next class. I do advise this. When you are returning to school, if you've been out for a while, that you should start with this class, the research and persuasion class, because you're going to write a lot of papers and a lot of it's going to be research driven. This was so helpful. This was a foundation for me. And I'm really grateful for that. The other thing is, if you have any problems with learning, there are sources, there are things that you can ask for help with to address your disability. And then ask your advisor to put the easiest classes first. There's your foundation. Do the easiest classes, work towards the harder classes, because as you get used to these processes, you will adjust and you won't be as fearful. I think going into this next class, I'm not as fearful as I was, because now I feel like, okay, I can do this. I've convinced myself I can do this. And I did not get any help. I wasn't given any extra time or anything. One thing that I was able to do was on the reading assignments, which did help me somewhat, was is through Macmillan. Let's see if I can show you. Learning modules. Let's go back to learn course menu, learning modules. So let's see. Trying to find those sources. I'm trying to find where they have, like, where you have to read. Is it 6? Maybe it was 7. I can't remember where it is, but that's the, what is that? Oh, that's where you selected your things. Hold on. I didn't need to take you there. Sorry, guys. Ah! Where the hell is it? Tools, maybe? I don't remember where it is now, God. Assignments, discussions, assignments, it's assignments. That's the rubric. Sorry, guys. I can't. Didn't I tell you I get lost? Anyway, there's a link to Macmillan. I can't pull it up now. But there is the option to play instead of reading, to hear it. So that's what I did. I had to slow down. But then it got annoying to me because it's computerized voice. Blah. Anyway, I'm getting hungry for lunch, so I'm gonna get off now. Starting to get nauseous. You guys have a great day and happy learning to people who are getting ready to start, and talk to you later. Bye, guys. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen and we're going to stop recording.